Hello everyone. I welcome you again to the chapter Systematics of Living Organisms. In the previous lectures, we had started with five kingdom system of classification. In five kingdom system, we had studied that there are five kingdom in which first kingdom is kingdom Monera. In the last lecture, we had completed with kingdom Monera, and in today's lecture, we are going to start with the next kingdom, that is kingdom Protista. Now, kingdom Protista, this group, it includes all the unicellular but eukaryotic organisms. Unicellular organisms, okay, uni means all the organisms belonging to Protista, they are unicellular, that means they have a single cell, okay, but they are eukaryotic organism. In kingdom Monera, we had studied that they were all prokaryotic, that means they had primitive nucleus, but the nucleus was not very well developed, okay. But here in kingdom Protista, they are eukaryotic. Eu means true, and karyotic means nucleus. So they have a very well developed nucleus, and that is why they are called as eukaryotic organism. Now these organisms, it shows the link with all the eukaryotic kingdoms like kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, and kingdom Animalia. When you see this is Monera. Last time we had studied, yes. So it consisted of primitive nucleus, that is prokaryotic organisms. But when we see Protista, they are eukaryotic, that means they have a very well developed nucleus. You can see how evolution is taking place. How evolution is taking place. Initially, the nucleus was not very well developed, so they were called as prokaryotic. Protista, they had a very well developed nucleus. As the days passed, as evolution took place, Protista had a very well developed nucleus, and later all the kingdoms, that is kingdom Plantae, kingdom Fungi, and kingdom Animalia, they all were eukaryotic. And that is why kingdom Protista is said to be a connecting link between Monera and the other kingdoms. Now, Protista, there are different types. The first type of Protista is plant-like Protista. Plant-like Protista means what? They show characters just like plants. Now, they are also called as chrysophytes. Okay. Now, they're also called as chrysophytes. What do you mean by chrysophytes? Now, chrysophytes, they are also called as golden brown algae. Now, why they become golden brown algae? Because of presence of photosynthetic pigments which are either brownish in color, and also their cell wall has a what you can say, cell wall is made up of a substance called as chrysolaminarin, and hence they are also termed as chrysophytes. Now, they are also commonly called as phytoplanktons. Now, phyto means plants, okay? So, these are plants basically found in aquatic habitat, okay? They are found in freshwater habitat also, as well as salty habitat also. As they are phytoplanktons, they are microscopic, and as they are found in salty condition as well as freshwater, that is why they are also termed as phytoplanktons. Phyto means plants. Now, what are the characters? They are microscopic and they are mostly photosynthetic. They are microscopic, that means we cannot see them by naked eyes, and they are mostly photosynthetic also. Photosynthetic means what? They show presence of photosynthetic pigments. Photosynthetic pigments like chlorophyll pigments, okay? And they are major producers in oceans. Now, as I said, phytoplanktons means what? Plants living in the sea or water bodies, they are called as planktons. Phyto means plants living in oceans or sea or water bodies, okay? So They are photosynthetic. That means they have chlorophyll in them, chlorophyll pigment. That means they are able to produce their own food. Okay. And as they are able to prepare their own food, also many organisms in the water bodies or many life forms in the water bodies like sea and oceans, they are dependent on this plant like protist. And that is why they are also called as producers, because with the help of sunlight they produce their own food and also provide food to other life forms in the sea as well as oceans or any other water bodies. Now, most of them are referred to as diatoms. As diatoms have the body wall made up of two soap-like box-like fitting silica covers. Now, they are also referred to as diatoms. Now, the planktons which are formed in the sea, they are also called as diatoms because their body wall have soap-like structure. Here you can see in the diagram, these are the diatoms. Okay. Now, these diatoms, this is the body wall of the diatom. Okay. This is the body wall of the diatom, and it is said that it has a soap box like fitting. If you see a soap box, it has two parts, I can say. One part in which the soap is kept, and other part which keeps or which covers the soap. So here you can see that just like a soap box, it has a two valves. Okay. So this is the body wall, and it has two valves which opens. Okay. So this body wall is made up of silica. So such type of plankton, it is called as diatoms. Now diatomaceous earth is nothing but the shells left behind for so many years. Now what happens to these diatoms when the diatoms die? Okay, when the diatoms die, they settle to the bed of the earth. That means in the ocean and the sea bed is present. Yes. So when the diatoms die, what happens? This silica, okay, this body wall which is made up of silica, this settle down on the bed of the earth or floor of the ocean, and they do not disintegrate. Okay, they do not, they die. Okay, but what happens? The shell remains as it is, and later these shells, it then converts or it is then converted. It takes millions of years, so it is then converted into white chalky form, and this white chalky form is called as diatomaceous earth. So conversion of this body wall of silica, it settles down to the bed of the earth or floor of the ocean, and this silica, it then converts into a chalky form white structure that is called as diatomaceous earth. Now, this diatomaceous earth is granular and hence it finds use in polishing and filtration. Now, when you see this diatomaceous earth, okay, here is the diagram, okay, this is diatomaceous earth, okay, you can see sea. So, inside the sea bed, when the diatoms die, what happens? It settles down, okay, in the bed, and then it leads to a chalky white substance. This is called as diatomaceous earth. Now when we see the structure, the texture, sorry, the texture is very rough. Okay, and that rough texture is called as granular, and because of this property it is used in polishing. Okay, and then it is used also in filtration of water. Why filtration of water? Because as this is granular, all the foreign bodies as well as small hairs, they get filtered through this granular substance, and that is why diatomaceous earth is used in filtration also. So up till now we had studied about plant like protists. Next is animal like protista. Now animal like protista, they are also termed as protozoans. They are also called as protozoans. They lack cell wall. That means the cell does not have cell wall. They are heterotrophs. As in the previous lecture also I had said, heterotrophs means what? They cannot produce their own food or they cannot prepare their own food, but they are dependent on plants and also other animal sources for their nutrition. Such are called as heterotrophs. Now they are believed to be primitive animal forms. That means they are primitive animal forms. That means primitive, long back. Now different types of protozoans are found. First type of protozoan is amoeboid protozoan. Now amoeboid protozoan, they have a pseudopodia as a locomotory organ. Okay. Now amoeba. Amoeba is one of the example. Okay. Now you can see here amoeba. Now when we see amoeba, amoeba is a free living form. Amoeba, it is a amoeboid protozoan. Okay, this is amoeba, which is a amoeboid protozoan. Now this amoeboid protozoan, this is the cytoplasm of the amoeba, and this cytoplasm, it gives out, you can see it gives out cytoplasmic projections, which is called as pseudopodia, and with the help of pseudopodia, locomotion is possible. Next is flagellated protozoan. Okay, this was amoeba, but there is also one organism which is called as ant amoeba. Okay, which is also called as ant amoeba, and this ant amoeba, it is endoparasite. Endoparasite. Now amoeba is found, it is aquatic, it is found in fresh water, okay, or in lakes as well as ponds. But when we see this ant amoeba, this is ant amoeba, and this ant amoeba, it is an endoparasite. Endo means inside, and parasite means what? It is dependent on the host for the nutrition. So where this endoparasite is found, where this ant amoeba endoparasite is found, it is found in humans. Where exactly in humans? In small intestine. It is found in small intestine of man, and later then it progresses towards the large intestine. Now this ant amoeba, it causes amoebic dysentery. Now if suppose the water is not purified, or if the water is not infected, if the water is infected, so this amoeba, it enters our body, okay, and after entering our body, what happens? It multiplies over there, okay, and then this endoparasite, it causes an infection which leads to a disease called as amoebic dysentery, which causes a symptom called as amoebic dysentery. Dysentery means what? Loose motions. Flagellated protozoan have flagella as locomotory organ. Flagellated protozoa. Flagella means what? You can see here it is a whip-like structure. Example is Trypanosoma. Now this organism or this animal is called as Trypanosoma. Okay. There are various species of Trypanosoma. We are seeing Trypanosoma brucei. So this trypanosoma, here you can see this is the flagella. Okay. So such protozoa which have a long whip-like structure. Whip-like structure means what? A long whip. Whip means what? Chabuk. Okay. Where horses were beaten. Yes. So this flagella, this long structure is called as flagellum. So such protozoan, they are called as flagellated protozoan. Okay. And this flagellated protozoan, it acts as a locomotory organ. That means they move with the help of flagella. Now, trypanosoma is a common flagellated pathogen which causes sleeping sickness. Now, pathogen, what is the meaning of pathogen? That means the organism which causes disease. Okay, so disease causing organisms, they are called as pathogen. And what this trypanosoma does, it causes a disease called as sleeping sickness. Now, let me tell you, trypanosoma is not found in India, but it is very much common in Africa. Okay. Now, what happens? This trypanosoma, it gets infected into a human with the help of a fly. Okay. Now, this when it enters the human, what happens? It causes a disease called as sleeping sickness. Now why this disease is called as sleeping sickness? Because in the initial stage, this trypanosoma, it causes fever, okay, then chills, okay, and also anemia. In the later stages, what happens? The person, because of anemia and fever, what happens? The person becomes very much lethargy. Lethargy means what? He becomes very much lazy. And at the last stage, the person and at the last stage, this trypanosoma, it affects the central nervous system. And after central nervous system, ultimate result is death. So as the person here, it becomes lethargy. That is why it is called as sleeping sickness. Next type of protozoan is ciliated protozoan. Up till now, we had seen about amoeboid protozoan, ciliated protozoan, flagellated protozoan. Okay, now we are going to see ciliated protozoan. We had seen flagellated protozoan. Okay, paramecium is a good example of ciliated protozoan having cilia for locomotion. Here is the diagram of paramecium. Where is paramecium found? In water bodies, in freshwater lakes, ponds. Okay. Now here you can see a very small hair-like structures. Can you see all over the body? Okay. So the body is just like slipper shape or sole of a shoe. It is called as, and they all around the body they have small structures which is called as cilia. Okay, and through the cilia, the what you can say, through the cilia the animal moves. Okay. Now, in paramecium, gullet or a cavity opens on the cell surface. This is the cell surface, okay, and you can see a part which is called as gullet. So, this gullet, it is the opening through which food is ingested, and this food it is then given to a food vacuole. Okay, this it is given to a food vacuole. Here is the food vacuole. Okay, here is the food vacuole, and through the food vacuole all the digestion process, once the food enters the food vacuole, digestion process takes place. Next protozoan is a plasmodium. Now plasmodium, it is a sporozoan protozoa. Sporozoan means what? It is spore producing protozoan. It produces spores, or it multiplies by spores. It causes malaria. It forms spores in one of its life stage. It causes malaria. Malaria, it is a very much common disease you must have heard about. Okay, so it forms spores in one of the life stage. You can see here. Now, how this plasmodium is transmitted to human being. Okay, humans, humans they suffer from malaria. Okay, so who is responsible for malaria? The female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, through this mosquito, the plasmodium is transmitted into humans. Now, what happens? This Anopheles mosquito, this is a female mosquito. Okay, not all mosquitoes are carriers of plasmodium. Okay, not all mosquitoes cause malaria, but only the female Anopheles mosquito. Okay, this female Anopheles mosquito, first it bites the infected person, and from the infected person the plasmodium is given to or transmitted to another person. In the female Anopheles mosquito, the plasmodium, it multiplies and reproduces, and it lays eggs. Okay, now when this infected, ये जो mosquito है इसमें जो plasmodium है, what happens? This Anopheles mosquito, it has plasmodium in it. This mosquito later it bites another what host, the host is human. Okay, and then the plasmodium is transferred with the help of bite to the another host. Now initially this plasmodium, it first affects the liver of the human being. Okay, and from the liver it is then given to the RBC cells, and ultimately all the RBC cells are infected, which leads to malaria. Next type of protista is dinoflagellates. Up till now we had seen plant-like protista, animal-like protista, and third one, C1, we are going to see is dinoflagellates. Now they are aquatic, that is mostly marine, and photosynthetic. Where are dinoflagellates found? Mostly they are aquatic, that means water bodies, and that also mostly marine. Marine means what? Found in oceans and seas. Okay, and they are photosynthetic. Photosynthetic means what? They show presence of chlorophyll pigments in them. The cell wall is made up of cellulosic stiff plates. That means they are made up of cellulose. Now they possess a pair of flagella. They possess a pair of flagella. You can see this is the diagram. Okay. The name of the organism is Goniolax. Okay. This is Goniolax, and this Goniolax organism, it has a flagella. So this is an example of dinoflagellate. So you can see they possess a pair of flagella. One flagella is over here and other flagella is over somewhere here. So they possess a pair of flagella through which locomotion is possible. Okay. They have a wide range of photosynthetic pigments which can be yellow, green, brown, blue and red. Different photosynthetic pigments are present. Okay. Like chlorophyll A is one of the photosynthetic pigment, chlorophyll B, xanthophyll which gives yellow color, yes, carotene which gives orange color. Okay. So here this this dinoflagellates, they show different photosynthetic pigments which can be yellow, green, brown, blue and red. Now Goniolax is a dinoflagellate that is responsible for famous red tide. Okay, now this is an example of red tide. Mostly in oceans you must have seen red color. Now why do that red color appear? Because of the dinoflagellate. Okay, it has a red photosynthetic pigment, and because of this red photosynthetic pigments, the entire sea appears red in color. So this makes even sea appear red. Now next is fungi like protista. Okay, now they are commonly from the group Myxomycetes. Okay, they are commonly all fungi. There are different types of fungi, but in the protista, only the group Myxomycetes are included. They are saprophytic organisms found in decaying leaves. Okay, now we had studied about different nutritions, like we had studied about autotrophic nutrition, chemosynthetic nutrition, heterotrophic nutrition. One type of nutrition is saprophytic. Saprophytic means what? These fungi, they depend only on dead decaying matter, and that also basically on decaying leaves. The cells aggregate to form a large cell mass called as plasmodium. Okay. Now what happens? The cells of the fungi, they all aggregate. Aggregate means what? They combine. And they combine to form a large cell. And that large cell is called as plasmodium. Not the previous plasmodium which we had studied. Not the previous plasmodium that we had studied in malaria. Now the spores produced by the plasmodium, they are very much tough and they can survive in even harsh conditions. Now what this fungi does, they reproduce by spores. Okay, they produce spores, and these spores, they have the ability to survive in tough conditions also. See, these are fungus like protists. Here are the examples of fungus like protista. Okay, so they produce spores, and these spores, they can survive in harsh conditions also. And the last one is euglenoids. Now they lack cell wall but have a tough covering of proteinaceous pellicle. So they lack cell wall. They lack cell wall, like in animal likes also, like animal like protists also cell wall was absent. So here this euglenoids, they also do not have cell wall. Okay, but instead of cell wall, what do they have? They have a very tough covering, and that covering is made up of protein. They possess two flagella, one short and other long. Just now we had studied flagella. It is a long structure, whip-like structure, I can say. Okay, so here they have two flagella. One is shorter one and another is longer one. So this is euglena. Okay, you can see a flagellum. Okay, cell wall is absent, but instead of cell wall, what do they have? They have a tough covering, and this tough covering is made up of proteinaceous pellicle. They have two flagella. Okay, one flagella is over here. Okay, and that is used for locomotion. Now they behave as heterotrophs in absence of light, but possess pigments similar to that of higher plants for photosynthesis. Okay, now they are heterotrophs in absence of light. When there is no light, what do? Obviously, when there is no light, they will not be able to produce their food. Okay, so they act as heterotrophs. That means they are dependent on other organisms for food source. Okay, but they possess pigments similar to that of higher plants. They do not have chlorophyll pigments, but they have pigments similar to photosynthetic pigments or chlorophyll pigments. And with that pigments, they carry out the process of photosynthesis, but in presence of light only. In absence of light, they are heterotrophic. So this was about protista. Okay, in protista we had studied about plant like protist, animal like protist. Okay, dinoflagellates, fungi like protist, and also euglenoids. So here we finish in today's lecture about kingdom protista. In next lecture we'll study the further kingdom. Thank you.